right here. It's gonna be like that one.
All right, everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to the final split. We do exist. It's a show. We're here.
Stop asking us about it.
The rumors are spreading everywhere that we've been canceled, but onward we press. It has been a while though, so welcome back. First
ABC
of all,
finally put you guys back on the air, huh?
yeah,
Yeah, no, it was canceled. Producers are coming out. We're not seeing the
they're
ratings.
knocking on the doors like, "Hey guys, it's show's over." Like, we gotta make room for the new drama, whatever it might be, new reality show. And
Need more room for Carlton and Dancing.
That's
with the
right.
Stars.
That's right. Carlton, our boy Carlton over here in the green box. I'll explain that in just a second. But first of all, we've got Spike Vegeta again. How was your week?
I'm good. We talked about before the show starts. I'm probably the only person in the world with a Wii U who doesn't have Smash 4 right
Well,
now.
you're gonna have to fix that this weekend if you can. So,
But other than that, just ate a lot of turkey this week.
a lot of turkey. A lot of turkey is good. And joining us as our guest this weekend, actually kind of playing off of what you've been up to as well in the last couple of minutes there, Spike. We have Ghoul joining us. Welcome to the show. You guys have been discussing RPG speedruns just this afternoon here.
Pretty much. It's been a busy week for a bunch of random stuff, and that's been the last 3 hours. So hopefully my voice holds out for this. Which
There
it
you
should.
go. Well, I
Hey,
hope
we're
you
just here for
sound
3
fine.
hours. We got one more to get through. We're good. This
That's
will be
right. All you have to do is just pass every time it's your turn to say something, and your voice will be just fine. That's the
Cool. Do
strategy.
you have anything to say about that? Nope.
Just keep pushing it
No
over to Spike
opinion.
and make the actor not able to speak anymore. Let's just go with that.
Hey,
And,
I'm out of my show. I'm good.
and we decided before the show that since we don't have a fourth host for today, that we were gonna not leave the box entirely blank. So joining us is one of my favorite actors of all time, who played Carlton on a show that we all so dearly love. Alfonso Ribeiro is joining us in the green box, but he has no comment. So appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Our first topic is actually another stream that was on hiatus and made a return today, and that was the Speed Gaming League, which was
Yay!
the kind of the sister project to Sunday Sequence Break, kind of sharing stream space with that channel. But this is I believe the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the mastermind of Fiesel at work, if I'm not mistaken, kind of coming up with this system where players can race head-to-head in NES and SNES games, and it automatically updates their splits for us, like a goal, a predetermined goal, like beat stage 1, beat stage 2, that kind of thing. And yeah, so they kind of race head-to-head and they kind of go through like a 30-minute jam session of sorts where they can run it as many times as they want to, but only their best time counts. So it's an interesting format for speedrunning. It's kind of like a mix of take your standard SRL races, but rather than just having you go once, it's put out the best time you can in some set amount of time.
So basically, it sounds like a competition to get the best IL in a
Yeah,
short amount of time.
that's a pretty good way of putting it. And as far as I know, they kind of split it into rounds, so you're playing different people each round, but then you have a game that you were told beforehand, like this is going to be the game you're going to race, and this is going to be the goal. And then I think they're given like a mystery game too, where they're not aware of what game they're going to be playing in one of the rounds as well. So it's a mix of rehearsal and then spontaneous gameplay. But yeah, I got to watch a little bit of the show they did earlier today. There was some Castlevania 3 going on. I saw some Darkwing Duck as well. And not the runner, the game. Not to confuse you guys. But yeah, it's an interesting concept, and it's good to see that it's back. But what do you guys think about Speed Gaming League making a return?
I think it's pretty cool. I'd love to see it done for other games. Just thinking about games I run, like we've had IL Wars and Tropical Freeze where we would spend an hour and try to get the best time. I could see it working great for something like that. It's a different way to get a type of race in for speedrunning, and I think that's really cool. I love seeing unique ideas in speedrunning and see where they go with them.
Dude, even if they don't want to do it, we should do it. The Tropical Fuse community, because that sounds like a lot of fun, actually. I'm going to bring you all back to a little-known show from the 90s. One of my favorite shows as a kid, Nick Arcade.
Nick Arcade. I knew you were going there.
This is so... And we didn't talk about this before. Like, this is so Nick Arcade. Of course, Feasel, the king of chill, the king of fun, like would come up with this. I didn't know until right before, because Golden. I'll let you guys know, Golden does all the work on this show, and we just show up and do what we can. I didn't know until 2 minutes before the show started they brought this back. I love this concept. I loved when they did this. I think it was almost a year and a half ago now.
It feels like it's been a really long time between the last one and they mentioned it was like episode number, I want to say like 25 or 24. So there were quite a few of them in the past, and I do remember them being kind of. I don't want to say it was like the sister project of Sunday Sequence Break because they're very different shows, but it complemented that channel really well. And the guys that were involved with TSSB were the same guys that were kind of involved with SGL. So it's cool to see that it's back. I love that a lot of these non-traditional, we're so used to just RTA streams, and that's what speedrunning is now in 2014. But it's cool to see these different approaches to it that have people taking part, and I guess it's open to anybody. My understanding is if you're interested in participating, as long as you can stream the NES and SNES games, I believe you're eligible. So
have they announced how often they're going to try to do this, like a bi-weekly, a once a month type thing, weekly?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I know when they did it before it was a weekly thing. I obviously it's dependent on how much time they have as well, but I'm guessing with it being back, I would hope it's weekly. I don't know that that's reasonable or not, but
that's the kind of thing. If they keep it going frequently enough, I could see a lot of people getting into this. It's not nearly as intimidating. All skill levels invited. It's not even the full game. It's just how quickly can you beat
right, and you're given time to rehearse the one game at least. I don't know if you'll depending on how well you are or how good you are at mystery games. That might be the section where
we get our buddy. Oh my God. I should know this. Yeah, can we get Captain Drake in on this and just see how he does relative to everybody else that actually runs the game?
It looks like some people in chat kind of correcting us there and saying it looks like they're going to try to do it twice a month. So
cool.
Or twice a week. Am I saying twice a week or twice a month?
Oh,
twice a week. What? That's a lot. That is insane. Okay. Right. Well, in that case, I didn't realize it was going to be that often. That's pretty cool. Well, in any case, it's going to be sometimes, some amount of times in some amount of set time. So it's back. It's back as the bigger thing. And actually, I meant to. I didn't. Now that we started talking about it, I was going to show you guys a little bit of footage here. We got a little bit. So you can take a look at it. So there we go. We'll get it in motion. As you can see there, you got kind of like this head-to-head format. They were playing. This is Castlevania 3. And we've got OmniGamer and Mythical 9. Now the numbers in the top of the stream are more important than the ones on the bottom there. You see kind of a global timer in the gray there, counting down from about 7 minutes there. That's how much time they have left in the, I guess, round, so to speak. And then the times on the top right corner are their individual, their best times basically throughout that 30-minute session. So at the moment here in this match, Mythical 9 was ahead by 1 second. With a time of 3:58 for the goal, and OmniGamer had a 3:59. On the bottom there, you're seeing a program that auto splits basically for each of the players, and so those update. It's pretty cool. Just kind of the programming that went into it. I'm guessing Lewis scripting that was involved, something of that sort to interact with the ROM.
Really cool. I could see a lot of cool uses for that. Like I said, even just thinking like Tropical Freeze could do stuff like this all the time, and I could think of other games with similar ILs. Like Sonic's another good one. Just anything with an IL, and you don't even need the built-in ROM thing if it has an in-game timer for ILs.
For sure. Yeah, I'm wondering if they'll take that approach maybe with some games that aren't NES or SNES, and just kind of, if there's a game that provides that opportunity in there. I mean, it seems to me like as long as they can run the global timer and say like you've got this much time to do it, then the game's probably eligible. So it'd be cool to see what they come up with. But nonetheless, it's exciting. Good to see that it's back. And I believe the website, by the way, speedgaming.tv, if you want more info on just SGL. But if you want to check out the Twitch page, it's the Sunday Sequence Break. So head on over there and check that out. Let's move on, though, guys, and take a look at this week's Clippy Clip. It's a game that was busted open a little over a week ago at this point.
And it's only been out for 2 weeks.
It was busted open in less than 24 hours is kind of the bigger surprise.
Surprise?
I don't know. Maybe not surprised if it's a Sonic game that it's that busted, but I guess I'm impressed with how quickly some of these tricks were found in skips. And it's now at the point where it is under a 40-minute game. I know a lot of the headlines after the first day of this game being released, it was just saying, I can't believe this game's already under an hour. Now it's under 40 minutes, so it's making its way down. Here you're seeing kind of the biggest trick in the game. In my opinion, you've got Knuckles just infinite jumping, basically flying across the entirety of the game, skipping through so much of it. Because everything is kind of preloaded into this world, you can go from a stage very early in the game to a stage very late just by doing this hop. So
there are a lot of other tricks in the game too, if you actually look into it. Like they've got, every character has ways of getting lots of height very quickly except for Tails. Which is kind of ironic, given what Tails is known for.
Right, everybody has this in their head that Tails is the flyer, but you get some skipping with Sonic where he's kind of using his speed boost to skip large gaps. But a lot of these tricks too, just playing off of a very broken pause system, and that's really, I believe, how it just got discovered. Is DSS kind of theorized in the middle of his first playthrough of the game. He's like, "What happens if I pause here and just?" Can I get some more height off of this? And sure enough, there you go. That's all it took.
Golly. Huge shout outs. And I'm sure it's been like a lot more members of the community who have actually discovered all these tricks. But big shout outs to Darkspine Sonic. Again, we had him on a couple months ago. Unbelievable glitch hunter as well as speedrunner. There's been a lot of negative response for this, but I know Golden, you brought this up when we talked about it earlier this week. Hey, you know what? It gave, this was a pretty unremarkable video game that actually got, you could maybe even say some replay value, just like, hey, look at what's going on in here. Mm-hmm. And now the only question I have is, and a lot of people will say, how do you slip this into AGDQ?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a question I've had too, is, one of the things we kind of talked about is what happens when a game that, we're less than a month out from AGDQ and a game comes along and boom, like it's no pun intended. It's the surprise. I quit. I'm quitting the show. I'm done. It just kind of hits us in the face. Like, this is a brand new game that first of all, the internet's blowing up about right now because in addition to the game, there's a 3DS game as well. It's also got the cartoon on in the mornings. People have been talking about just Sonic Boom in general is kind of like the Sonic embodiment at the moment, whether or not it's a good thing, whether or not you like the game or the cartoon, whatever it might be. People are talking about it right now, so its relevance right now is really high. And I almost wonder, is this the window of opportunity where you really want to do whatever you can to slip this in to AGDQ? Yes. I'm thinking yes. Whether it's Paraxate or Darkspine Sonic or whoever you get to run it, I think you would want to try to slip this in if you could. Now, that being said,
will be there, but how do you get it into that schedule?
That being said, that's the follow-up question. No.
A bunch of 4 hours of games was just dropped from the schedule. I know Metal Gear Solid 2 is no longer in. Baldur's Gate's not in. One other game I know just got cut. And Mike pretty much just said, okay, I'm okay with the marathon being a little shorter. But as someone who is on the bubble, I've got one of the games there on the bubble with other people that could be put in. You gotta fit Sonic Boom in there. You gotta take 40, 45 minutes and say, DSS, Parax, someone's gonna do this game, because yes, the internet will be hype as crap for it. This is going on right now. You don't want to do this at SGDQ. No offense, Rom, we're not saving it for you. Mike's got to fight for it and say, we are putting Sonic Boom in this marathon. DSS is going to be there. Make it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
The window of opportunity is never going to be better for it. It's going to be, the game will die very quickly. So
right.
If you don't do it now, it's going to.
That's kind of one of the other questions I have with this too. Is how many of these runners would still be playing the game if we don't have this scenario where this game is completely broken up? I get the feeling that most people who bought this game regretted their purchase. The only people who didn't regret it are the speedrunners who've managed to bust it into what it is now. And now they're actually really glad they made the purchase. So. I don't know. I think it's a fun run to watch. It's definitely got that surprise factor to it where you're not, unless you've been watching and paying attention to what's happening, I don't think the average viewer is going to be expecting what they're going to see. And it's really cool, not just the skips themselves, but then kind of what results from them. You're getting characters in zones that aren't supposed to be there, so you're playing through stages as, Tails isn't supposed to be here, but suddenly Tails is, or whatever the case may be. So it's a cool run. It's a short run too. So nice job, everybody that's been looking into Sonic Boom, and we'll see what happens. It gets I think it gets the final split seal of approval.
Speed run of the year, new speed game of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm only somewhat joking about that. Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah, if we had $1 every time you said speed run of the year, I don't know. Up to at least like $3 now. So
$3 solid.
All right. Well, let's move on, guys. Let's interview our guest of the week here, who is Ghoul, down in the bottom corner. Ghoul, you guys on the bottom here, you guys share a game in common here in Tropical Freeze. Let me ask you. Let's see how I want to word this. How you got into Tropical Freeze, and then after that, just kind of what's the current status as far as AGDQ? How did the practice runs or trial runs go? That kind
of, So basically, Tropical Freeze just started as soon as they announced that game and said David Wise is going to do the soundtrack, I'm like, I'm in. That was pretty much what happened. And then I'm like, okay, I got to get a Wii U. I got the Wii U specifically to play Tropical Freeze.
So you actually bought your Wii U for Tropical Freeze, okay.
Yeah, so that should tell you how excited I was to actually play the game. I figured it looks like it looked like a pretty natural speed game, and the Donkey Kong Country series has always been pretty good speed games. So I figured it's got to have some value there. Let's push it. Let's get it going. I just wanted to make sure I got enough out of a casual playthrough before I got into actually speedrunning it, which Spike went straight into it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I still don't have all the puzzle pieces. I'll probably never get the puzzle pieces.
Yeah. The puzzle pieces
I'm the only runner that has. I'm the only one that's been stupid enough to actually sit down.
Oh, you've actually collected all the puzzle pieces. Wow.
I've gotten every puzzle piece. The only thing I don't have is all shiny gold medals.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so... Okay, I guess a side question before you jump in and give us the GDQ results. What were your impressions just playing through the game the first time compared to the transition to speedrunning? Was it kind of just obvious going into it, like I want to speedrun this game, or was it
I was pretty sure when I got it I was going to speedrun it. It felt like a game I was going to speedrun.
Sure.
Regardless, I'm pretty sure I posted in the SDA topic almost immediately as soon as it went up. And it's one of those things, it's really funny. You just kind of eventually pick up things in games and you could tell I already knew that rolling in Donkey Kong was really good. So when you start rolling in the game, you start kind of just immediately theorizing. And when you start speedrunning games, you start looking, you can play the most casual style game ever and you immediately start saying,
right,
okay, that was cool. How can I break this? What's the right thing to do? And it's just a mentality that just doesn't go away once you start to speedrun.
Also, shout-outs to Ghoul in our community. Well, shout-outs to Ghoul in our community. That is so hard to do.
That is.
Shout-outs to Ghoul in our community, who is the best at just improving strats on the fly, and has actually found strats just by screwing up initially into the round.
Are you known for working your way out of tricky situations and runs? Is that kind of the case here?
I am known for just not knowing what I'm doing sometimes, and then just occasionally doing something ridiculous and it actually working.
That's a good feeling when you accidental brilliance. It's the best.
I can't do that.
There are times there's just some levels in that game where the routes just never stuck with me properly. Like the biggest one I can think of is Bramble Scramble. I just don't do that level how you're supposed to do it in a couple places. And my route is the same speed, but I just improv it 90% of the time and usually do okay.
Just go on autopilot, yeah.
Just pogo, okay, there we go, we're good. It just the beginning of the level never clicked the proper way. So there's a couple other things like that. Thankfully, I'm not remembered as screwing things up horribly. I don't generally choke away things too badly, which there are a couple runners that have that reputation.
Woo!
So, all right, getting back to the original follow-up question, then, how did your trial runs go for Tropical Freeze, and then what's the situation here with the AGDQ?
Situation with GDQ is that, I call him Goldilocks. Michael Goldfish is going to do by far the best run of that game, and he's, as a community, we've decided that he's probably going to be the best run, and as much as a race would be really cool, really hype, and an interesting way to start a GDQ, there's just no one is as consistent as Goldfish. It would be a huge upset if somebody actually won that.
Yeah, let me ask you guys. I know Spike's talked about it a bunch, but Ghoul, I guess, what's your opinion of if it was to be a race? Do you think that's the right format for it, or would that just? Do you think it's much better as a single player kind of thing with commentary from the couch?
Either one would be really good. I would love to see a 4-player race with Goldfish, kind of as the leader, and then you've got the underdogs in Cruncha, Spike, and Enke, all of which are capable of on any given run of beating Goldfish. I would love to see that. And then you've also got so much tech has come out recently. Like we just added in, we discovered shopless is actually safe enough to do in an actual run, and it saves probably 30 to 40 seconds. So potentially, if somebody was way ahead and they didn't go shopless, and then someone else was maybe 20 seconds behind and they went shopless, they're all of a sudden in the lead, and that's the kind of stuff in a race that could lead to blow up potential, but could also make for a really cool comeback.
Yeah, so it creates definitely that extra storyline there where it makes the run a lot riskier and harder from there, but you can potentially get right back in it.
Yeah, I guess one concern that I can think of is just the fact that it is a 16x9 game, and so it's a lot of stretching of the space that's allotted, that kind of thing. So it does bring up a concern in that regard. But I'm with you guys on the idea that it would be a cool race, and at the very least, it's probably going to happen in the practice room for sure.
Oh yeah, it will happen.
I also want to go ahead and throw out, because I know, Ghoul, I think you were the first advocate for doing some sort of like a league idea that we kind of went through with. If you want to just talk about, I guess, do you think that would be a good thing for future GDQ? Because I think we're only going to see more and more of this, I've always said, of 6, 7, 8. You might see like 12, 13 runners offering the same game. They've all got solid PBs. How do you decide the 2, 3, 4 runners at that point?
Right. We kind of went over this a lot. The idea that I came up with was to try to do it like a sports league where we would have, and we kind of eventually modified it, but the original idea was we would do 1v1 races routinely, where once a week you would have to schedule with your opponent, do a race, winners recorded, and then the best record at the end would have a playoff system to basically do the GDQ run if it was a solo run. Eventually we realized that scheduling for that was going to be pretty tricky, so we eventually decided to try to do 10 no reset runs each, and the best time would be the most likely to do good runs at a GDQ.
Now was it just sum of all 10 times, or was it the best of the 10? Was it the average?
The idea was the best of all 10.
Okay.
We take all 10. You drop top 2, drop bottom 2.
Okay, sure.
So it would be consistency would be the most important thing.
Right. It just all, I think the biggest thing we were trying to shoot for is offering an alternative method to just the 4 best PBs getting in. Showing, and just a way, you can go with 4 best PBs, but maybe you have some fun building up to AGDQ of who gets to be in. I had fun with it.
That was the idea of the league thing, is that if we did have a playoff system for who actually got to do the run or do the race, you've got some pre-AGDQ hype leading into the actual run, so that people are actually invested in the run before it actually happens. They're invested in AGDQ before GDQ is the actual thing. And so now, instead of just the GDQ is happening and we have their audience for a week, we have these smaller build-in events saying this is going to happen at a GDQ. This is why you should follow it. I think that's a really interesting idea that I think Mike should really look into.
Yeah, it's the playoffs building up to the Super Bowl.
There you go. I want to ask you about a couple other games that you run. I know the first time I bumped into your stream, you were playing Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. How did you arrive at that game as a speed choice? Choice. I made new terminology tonight. There we go.
Speed choice.
Well, how was that your speed
choice?
What's
your speed choice?
That's right.
Crystal Chronicles started off. I was looking on SDA and I was like, what game do I know that I remember that doesn't have a good an SDA run? And Crystal Chronicles kind of stuck out, and I'm like, this could be done single segment. The music's really good in the game, which is the other thing that popped out at me. So I'm like, okay, so I can listen to good music, and this run hasn't been done before. And originally I was going to submit a run to SDA. I never actually did it because there's no easy way to both record and or record the run without anything else. And But it was just kind of that's how it started, and I was like, okay, let's try this. Let's see how this goes, and it just I just stuck with it, and I know that's kind of boring, but it's been really cool though. Like when it first started, I actually got to connect with it gave me a couple ins with like Wu King Long was running the game at the time, so I got to kind of talk with him, get a little bit more acquainted with the community. I've actually had a lot of communication with the Japanese running community for the game, which has been really cool. So like I've done actual races with Japanese players in the game. It's been really cool.
Is there just a like flash forward to November 2014? Is there still kind of a thriving scene for that game, so to speak, or is it a game that you guys have been there, you've done that, you moved on, or what's kind of the state?
It kind of seems to come in and out every couple months, where Little Tomby will do a couple good runs, and it's interesting because for like before there was a major glitch that was kind of discovered for the game that gave you infinite money. The Japanese version that wasn't used when I first started running the game. But before that glitch was discovered, there were 3 or 4 active Japanese runners for the game. So, and then they're kind of all moved on now to different games. So it's just one of those things where it just kind of seems to come in and out slowly. So Neviat's picked up the game, that re-spurred interest in it for a bit, and then it kind of died once he got world record and has moved on to other games himself. So, but yeah, that's pretty much. It just kind of seems to come and go, and I can go for a while on it before the game has a good amount of RNG that drives me nuts after a while.
Yeah, I could see that.
Now I've got to ask you, another really, again, you're kind of like me. We're these speed idiots who have to focus on multiple games at once.
Speed choice and speed idiots. We're just
speed
making
idiots.
Up the whole,
I know. I was like,
the whole speed dictionary tonight.
I have to ask, so Catherine, 2 players, 1 controller. I know this was one of the most interesting submissions, I think, for AGDQ. Tell me about this game, this category. You're running it, the stress that it is. What is this game?
Okay, so Catherine is this game where the point of it is to climb this giant block tower, is the basic concept. But the problem is when you do story mode, the tower isn't randomized at all. And you can just collapse the entire thing down to you, and it's this like incredibly boring thing to watch. So you just like, it's not anything that I looked at it and I'm like, this sucks. And I love the game. It ruined the game. Like just watching it, I'm like, okay, don't watch this. It's going to ruin the game for you. So, and then I said, okay, what else is there? And I'm like, and I remembered I spent a lot of time in Babel, which is a side mode where it's semi-randomized, where it'll take these different patterns of blocks and drop them down. And there's a glitch in the US version of the game where you can't do it in one player. You have to do it in co-op for the last stage. So you're just like, so I was like, well, screw it. Let's do both controllers by myself.
Right, and you're trying to just find any way you can to give it, more life. Yeah, and then suddenly this 2-player run gets.
Yeah, and I was just like, and then I'm like, so I sat down and did it, and I'm like, this is kind of fun, and I started off just using 2 DualShock 3s, and I would just pick up one controller, set it down, pick up the other. And then I'm like, okay, let's see how much more I can optimize this. And then I kind of, messed around with putting the 2 controllers back to back and trying to, do like they do on Secret of Mana runs. And, hold on one sec. Okay. Where you stack controllers back to back and you would, try to play that way. And that doesn't work on DualShock 3s at all. The controllers are just not shaped for it. So I'm like, okay, I've got a fight stick. Let's use that.
Sure.
So I've got a fight stick and a DualShock 3, and I'm, working the stick on the thing while pushing buttons on the DualShock, and it's amazing how much optimization can pop out in that game just from. If you took the IL co-op times, the run should be about 15 minutes. I have the world record for that for 1-player 2 controllers. I have a 33-minute time, I want to say. So you can just imagine how much you can eventually push that time if you really got good at it. And then you've also got RNG where you've got to think the entire time, okay, the blocks are set up this way. I've got to climb up this way. I've got to do this. And it's incredibly difficult, but so rewarding.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool run to watch. The only thing is like how scary it is to lose a run.
That's the other thing about it is I submitted it for AGDQ. And I love the game. I would love to run it at AGDQ, but it is a terrifying submission in some ways because the 3rd level is very, very heavy on RNG, and if I die, I have to redo the entire level.
And that's so we're looking 12 at minutes if you're near the end.
Yeah, we're looking at a potentially 8-minute time loss from the game just saying, yeah, no, we're not going to give you that there. And basically, I would have to say, sorry, I can't do that. I'm going to have to move on to the next stage if something like that were to happen in the run.
I got another question here for you. I've seen on multiple occasions on your stream, you're popping 3DS games in. You got the Vita going. What are some handheld runs that kind of stand out to you as favorites at the moment?
So I've recently picked up The World Ends With You on 3DS. It was why I picked it up. Was to initially get into that game very heavily. Finding time for it's been difficult, especially it's a bit longer. It's a bit difficult to do. So, but that was the main reason I got the 3DS capture. And it's come in handy with a couple other things. Like when Smash came out, I got to actually stream Smash before streaming Smash was cool. The Smash hipster.
That's right.
And then I got the Vita capture because I was looking into doing Persona 4 Golden. And that game is resisting rooting so hard to the point where I don't think it's actually a worthwhile run. So the Vita capture is more now so I can play Miku on stream and not
there you go.
Suck. Because I'm actually okay on Vita, but I'm really bad on 3DS.
I was trying to think because I can't think of anybody off the top of my head aside from you who's got a Vita capture at this point.
I was trying to think. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they're relatively rare, actually. Most people that would do anything like that are using a Vita TV.
Vita TV, yeah.
I have a Vita capture card on a PS Vita 2.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that was pretty much the rationale behind it was that, and I've looked into a couple other Vita games to do to kind of get my money's worth out of it. Like I thought about doing Gravity Rush, which is actually impossible without a capture card because it doesn't work on a Vita TV. And I thought that would be an interesting game just because it kind of combines some pretty cool elements. But yeah, I don't know. It's something I just figured I wanted to be able to stream every game I have, and that was the tool I needed to do it. So yeah.
So you and Spike were talking RPG Limit Break before this show. You guys kind of had a little bit of a prediction show going on there. I guess two-part question. Are you planning to go, and what did you submit if you did?
As of right now, I'm hoping I can. If I get a game in, I will go.
Okay. And what
if
do we have?
Don't get one in, you won't go.
I won't go unless I can
likely.
But so what submissions are we looking at for?
We're looking at The World Ends With You any %, which is a 5-hour, 30-minute estimate right now. That might go down a tiny bit, but I doubt it. It's just too difficult to run. There's some punishing RNG in a couple places, and I don't have as much time to shave off as I thought I did. We have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which makes a lot of sense as well. I can do both the English version and the Japanese run of that game, both of which have very cool merits. Tales of Xillia is another option that we submitted as a group. There's a 4-player co-op run of that we've looked into.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're doing the whole 4-player thing. Okay.
Yeah, so which is good because otherwise that run is pretty mediocre. But if you have 4 players, hopefully there's enough entertainment value where, there's 4 players constantly doing stuff. We've got interaction with a lot of the guys, and
sure,
hopefully things come together with that. And then lastly, I got Valkyria Chronicles 2, which is a real long shot. So,
Crystal Chronicles. I'm campaigning for it.
You got Spike Vegeta there, yeah.
There we go. We got one guy.
Yeah, no, I love Crystal Chronicles actually, so I'm hoping that does well too.
It's actually a surprisingly good speed game in a lot of ways, but I don't know. There's just a lot against it at the same time when there's a lot of other good games. So,
I guess did you guys get a chance to see just the total amount of hours put in for Limit Break at this point? What's it looking like as far as
something like 430 hours?
430 hours.
It's 400 and some hours trying to cram into 120.
I knew 120. Okay, so I mean that's not terrible odds considering. I mean if if a game gets turned down, you're probably getting freeing up 4 to 8 hours at any given point. So
yeah. Right. There's just a lot of really strong submissions that I can't consider any of my games locks.
Sure.
So I'd love to see The World Ends With You get in more than any of them, but I also totally understand if that game doesn't get in because it has a lot of issues.
It's really, we talked about it on the show. Puexel has the luxury of having so many strong games offered for this. Like
it does really feel like the gamut is covered there as far as submissions.
It's strong enough. FF freaking 7 might not get into this marathon offered by Puexel. That's how strong the lineup is.
Right.
That's the crazy thing about it is how, it's crazy.
So it really is the RPG lovers marathon is shaping up to be. So, all right, I'm gonna leave the interview at that, and then we'll give the chat a chance to ask some questions later in the show. I'm sure they'll have some more questions that we missed. So we'll leave that. But for now, we'll go ahead and move on and talk about some things that are happening this past week or so. Beginning with something that's going on right now, we've got DreamHack Winter going on, and this is the second consecutive DreamHack that's featured speedrunning. We had some interviews going on earlier this summer with DreamHack. Some of the guys that were there, we kind of did some live interviews with them. But it looks like they're live right. I don't know if they're live right now. I don't want to say that. I might be wrong. It might be too late at this point.
Are they done?
I'm not sure whether they were going through the nights or not, but
they are still going right now.
Still going right now. Good.
Cool.
It's a DreamHack Winter. Again, these guys kind of, I think they were kind of set aside in one of the halls. And you can kind of tell, unfortunately, that's kind of the sad part about it is it seems like the reception from the people at the event itself isn't as strong, but the stream viewers are showing up there. So what do you guys think? If you got a chance to watch some DreamHack Winter, what do you think of it?
First of all, shout outs to my boy Noisy. I remember the days when I was beating him in 16 and 70-star races at Mario 64, and now he's up there on the biggest stage in the world.
That could have been you, Spike. It could have been you.
I know, right? And I was just like, this game is I don't want to do it. But yeah, shout outs to him, putting on a good show, got like a 52 in the 70-star race, very respectable. How disrespectful it is, they were performing for no one.
No one
live. They can't get people in the room. They're in this big arena, which I thought they were a little more successful with at the last DreamHack back in the summertime. But yeah, it just like they can't get anybody in the room to watch them. And we're not talking about small-time games. We're talking about Super Mario 64. We're talking about Ocarina of Time. You've got Cosmo right there and Joden Stone, the top 2 players in the world. And you can get 2,000 people on Twitch. We can get 100,000 for HEDQ, watching from home. But you put it in a big, nice arena with stadium seating, and they can't get anybody in there.
Right. Yeah. I just find it's such a surprise to me, because it seems to me like that would be the style of setting where if I'm just a stream viewer, if I'm the fan of speedrunning, I almost feel like that would work better than a GDQ format for me to be at, just because the GDQ format's got this structured commentary and rehearsal, and it's kind of more of a I'm looking at the camera kind of thing, whereas I feel like DreamHack is really all about the fans. When you look at any of the esports that are going on there, the Counter-Strikes and the Dotas and what have you, it really is just kind of this fan experience where here's all of my favorite players of these games, and they're sitting 10 feet in front of me playing, and it's so weird because it is such a mismatch. It's not really that competitive head-to-head esport kind of thing, except that this time around it really was in the form of Ocarina of Time race. It just seems like a mismatch as far as the live audience is concerned. Now, that being said, like you mentioned, there have been good stream numbers. So
yeah, the other thing to point out is that if you go to a GDQ, a lot of people hang out in the practice room rather than be in the actual room. The DreamHack would be like having a football stadium-sized practice room with anything you possibly want. So maybe they're just not there for speedrunning and they're seeing other stuff instead, and that's totally fine. And like I said, the stream has been doing great. It looks like so.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have seen it's not completely empty. I've seen people kind of occasionally stopping by, and like they'll sit over the railing and watch whatever the current run is. But it's very small numbers of people, and it's almost like it's maybe something that you pass by in the hallway rather than I'm there for that, or I'm
sure.
Which I guess the biggest shocker to me about that was that I felt like the night that they had the arena. that was before most of the esports tournaments were winding down. We weren't getting to any of the semifinals or the finals of, StarCraft or Counter-Strike or anything like that. So I felt like it was early enough in the event. They stood a good chance to pull in a lot of people. And it just surprised me that there wasn't that much of a crowd there. So.
Yeah. I mean, and at the same time, it's Ludendi. Like, they are like fun first and foremost in all the events they do. So if they like going to DreamHack, all the more power to them.
Right.
I would take it as a slap in the face, honestly.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, DreamHack seems to be really accommodating to them as far as like, we want you guys to be here and we're going to give you the arena to do this. And so it's weird that maybe it's tough to tell who to blame as far as the live audience not being there. Is it DreamHack's fault for not trying to push it more? When people walk into DreamHack, are they given a little flyer that says like, you should really go to this event, or is it just kind of one of these things? Do people even know it's there when they're there? That's something to consider.
They just think the janitors are in there cleaning those hours.
And for whatever the DreamHack arena is, I don't know the layout of the building or anything, but is it off somewhere in the distance, or is it something that it's first and foremost when you walk in, like everybody knows where the arena is, what's going on there at all times? I don't know. It seems to me like it could use some more promotion from DreamHack itself, just to get people in there.
Yeah, if they're so excited about getting us over there and having that event, I think they should put a little more work into actually getting people in there to make it worthwhile for everyone involved.
Well, and I think as far as the stream goes, it seems like that's pretty well taken care of. With I've tuned in a couple of different times and seen some live commentary going on there as well. So the runner kind of gets to do their own thing while somebody that's well versed in the run is talking in the background. So it's got this really good structure to it. Interviews in between games, that kind of thing. But it seems I'm trying to decide, and I think I've decided it's almost like a DreamHack thing where you're pointing fingers at them, like, why aren't you promoting our event more? Sure. It could be so much more than it is, that kind of thing. But it's cool to see nonetheless that they're back there. Hopefully DreamHack continues to support it. It's cool to see that they're inviting people from other countries to bring it in, trying to make it bigger. Hopefully we'll see more of these Ocarina of Time 4-player races, so to speak. With other games as well, and maybe that'll start to bring in some of that live audience. I also would wonder, just what would the reception be if there was something similar in the States? Would it be that same kind of empty room? If you did it at something like a PAX or one of the bigger conventions. I know MagFest used to be kind of the home of some of the SDA stuff.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if maybe this is just not as big in Europe as it would be in the West. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously the big mismatch there is that it does feel like speedrunning is very, very different from esports, and it is kind of an esports event. DreamHack being one of the biggest PC lands, so I don't know. Interesting. Anyway, but that's kind of the state of that, and it is still ongoing. So if you want to check out the stream, head on over there, give it a look. And let's talk about something that happened last week. Now we had the Donkey Kong Country anniversary race on SRL. This one being kind of the opener, I guess you could say, of the new website, kind of the home opener. Yeah. Donkey Kong Country being I'm guessing 20th anniversary now at this point. I'm trying to do the math in my head.
20th, yeah. 94,
like,
yeah.
What could it possibly be, unless it's like 23 or something, but it's just like some odd anniversary. Any excuse to play Donkey Kong.
23 and a half years old.
That's right. So what did you guys think of the SRL DKC anniversary? Spike, you and I were there.
Yeah, it was fun. For all the I'm going to start negative because I'm going to get positive with it. For all the hyping up of, the SRL front page and all the changes and everything, how can you not promote the DKC anniversary race, your opener, on your front page in some way? Have a banner up there in some form or fashion. Because I remember talking to Duckfist about it the morning of, who was one of the racers, and they didn't have a bad show, showing. There were 65 people there. I Ate Your Pie got over 100 people in on Mario 64 not long ago. I feel like the promotion of it was not great, was questionable to say the least. The actual race itself, it was unfortunate that we had to lose nearly half the race to Sloop's internet dying. But the race itself, I thought the setup for it was cool. I thought, you and myself were lucky enough we got to meet up with Reflected, all set up by Blecky and his crew to get to do commentary for it. I think that sort of setup, if you do it for a lot of other games, especially that are about to hit their anniversaries, their 20th, 25th, even 30th anniversaries. We're about to be 30 years away from Super Mario Brothers coming out. That could be fun. Mm-hmm. I think there's potential for a lot of really, really professional, fun community events like this. And hopefully they learn some things from DKC. Obviously, you can't help the internet dying, but you can help promoting it better. We had it if RaceBot doesn't poop itself, then Mega Man just got 200 people in that race.
Yeah.
So 65 is kind of a failure for that. Donkey Kong Country isn't exactly a niche game. A lot of people have access to it. A lot of people can play it. So why wasn't the turnout better than that?
Right.
But again, I'll let some other people talk if they want to real quick.
That's pretty much my same thoughts. Although at the same time, Donkey Kong Country, 65 racers for Donkey Kong Country is still really good.
Yes.
You also have to realize that a lot of people do runs of Super Mario 64 all the time. It's the most raced game on SRL, and not by a little bit. So you factor that in, maybe 65 is still pretty good. But, I love the concept, though, of just pulling out, games and saying, hey, we're going to have a big semi-blind race, or if you know the game, go ahead and wreck everybody else. But just these giant races, I love the concept. I can't wait to see what comes in the future.
Yeah,
I'm kind of salty I missed this one, but I hope they'll get in on the next one.
Yeah, it does seem to me like the positives of it are, obviously, depending on how you want to look at it, 65, either that's a lot or not a lot, but I think it's a pretty good showing for the game. I will agree with Spike, though, that as far as promotion of the race went, I think the only reason I knew about it, aside from being involved, if I don't take that bias there, but I think there was a tweet. There was like a tweet from Speedruns Live saying this is the race. So yeah, sure. I would love to see, if the goal is to do more of these in the future, which it is. I think they want to try to use the Speedruns Live website more often to kind of cover some of these races. I would love to see some sort of just banner on the front page saying, join us for whatever game it might be on this date at this time. Open to anybody, that kind of thing. Just a quick little image there, just as a means of communicating. Or even if it was something on like the IRC, you log into IRC, you get a notification saying this race is coming up, something like that. But
I do want to give a quick shout outs to the racers of the. I know we have Gary in the chat right now. Gary posted, I think it was like a high 34 in the game in a marathon setting.
Right.
Nailed one of the jump rolls. A very, very solid run. We got to see the race, kind of what Donkey Kong Country is. Sometimes you can have this great run going into World 6 like Eason had, and then all of a sudden jump rolls just kill everything.
Yep.
I think it promoted it as a really cool race. I've been talking about it for a while. They're thankfully doing DKC 2 4-way at AGDQ. I think a 4-way DKC 1 race for SGDQ would be an amazing follow-up. I think they showed it. Shout-outs to Mundungu, who wasn't even featured in the top 4.
Wasn't on the top 4.
Sneaking into Bop third place, my boy. I think the race was exciting to watch. It was exciting to get to commentate for. The other big criticism I have for it, because it's not just look at these top 4 racers, it's look at how anybody of any skill level can come in and speedrun a video game. It's not this scary thing to feel like, oh, I could never do that. I could never do that with Mario and Mario 64. I can't make Diddy fly through the air. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. So I would like to see in these races, yes, you have your top 4 runners, you focus on that, you show how this game is at its top level, but then have prepared to say, here's 4 other streamers that they don't even play the game really.
Right.
Let's just watch Duckfist stream. Let's pull in if Blecky's doing it, OmniGamer's doing it, if Ghoul's doing it, and let's just watch them go through the game and say, hey, we remember, us playing the game and how it's like, oh yeah, this level casually is pretty tricky. They're in Blackout Basement.
Right.
Let's see what happens.
It reminds me kind of I know like Cosmo used to do Ocarina of Time commentary over races, and he'd have like 2 different scenes, and on the one scene it would be all the players that are expected to win and the top players, and then on the other scene it was these are people who are doing it for the first time, or they just joined out of nowhere. We have no idea what they're the commentary shifted from what can we expect to how should they handle this situation. This
right.
is you're kind of looking at it like I have to think as if I'm playing it for the first time. What would my thought process be? That kind of thing.
The other thing is that they say that does a great job of pulling new people into the community as well, which is something that we should be looking to do. And granted, they had the banner in the races page, but if you put SRL big race right next to it, how many people visit the front page of SRL all the time? People saying, "Oh, I remember that game," and just getting kind of slowly pulling people in would be fantastic. And I think it's a way to do that in a very non-threatening setting.
Not knowing that it was actually advertised on the races page, I guess my follow-up criticism to that would be then I guess I don't use the races page often enough. Like I would rather see it on the front page. I think that's probably the most touched of all the different tabs that are out there. So that's just my feedback anyway. It's cool to know that actually was advertised there, but
there was some advertisement, but the front page has to do that. That has to happen in the future.
All right, so speaking of front page, that gives us an opportunity to transition. See, I'm glad we brought it up. It's brilliant. We're going to talk SRL changes now. So having had an opportunity to explore some of the new site changes, what are your thoughts on those? And then some other announcements that were made as well with regards to this change here.
The customizability now, if that's a word, I did it, nailed it. I was like, I'm questionable. Of the SRL front page, to kind of make it however you need it to be, I think it's great. I like that, sometimes because sometimes I have to dig a lot to find the sort of streams I want to watch, the sort of games I want to watch. I can categorize it by either runners or the runs they're doing. There's not so much junk about how you get on the SRL front page. It's much more inviting. They're just letting people on.
Right.
Saying, you are a speedrunner. You have contributed to one of the speed games that is going on right now. Let's get you on the front page so more than one person can find you.
Right.
Yeah. As somebody that had to grind out races, it's hard. I'd love to be, the good old boy and say, "Oh, back in my day when we wanted on the SRL front page, we would do, 50 races." But there are a lot of people. Like I had to actually pick up Sonic Adventure 2 Battle as kind of a side game just to get enough races to get on the front page when I first did it. And then on top of that, having to find a race every 2-3 weeks in order to stay on the front page isn't always easy when you're trying to focus really hard on this game that maybe people don't want to race or it's more obscure. And I think making it more inviting and easier for people to stay on the front page is great, regardless. It's better for everybody.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think one of the things I really like about this is that it not only is clearer to how do you get on the front page, but it's also up to you, I guess. Whether you want to be on the front page or not, you kind of have this authority over your own stream as to whether or not you appear. And then there's also kind of a responsibility factor too, where, hey, because we're letting you be in charge of one of your streams on the front page, you also have to make sure that you're speedrunning when you're on the front page.
They have Twitch SRL cops.
They're hammering down on people, man.
Yeah, they've started, as NKB will attest, they've started kind of hitting that, which they weren't doing before. So.
Yeah, I understand they'll take your stream off the front page if you're found to not be speedrunning. So it is a little bit of a added police factor, but at the same time, it's cool that you kind of get this profile page now where you're optimizing your own experience, so to speak. You get to choose. They've got kind of like an auto detect feature. So if you say blind race in your stream title, then that gets included.
The only thing I wish about that, and maybe it's coming in a future update, I wish we could just revert to the old one where I will say no SRL if I don't want to be on the front page, and if I want to be on it, I will leave it as is. It's so simple for me, and I don't have to ever fiddle with settings that I wish they would go. Just leave that as an option.
Well, there is actually, I think there's this auto detect thing you can do on your profile page.
Yeah, but there was some time where I said like something, testing instead of rooting or planning, and I was on the front page because of it. I just wish you could just say, this is no SRL and I'm not on, and this is. I think it's coming because they said they were going to have custom filters for that, where you could say, if this is in my title, put me on. If not, then take me off. But beyond that, I love the changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an inexact science at the moment, but it's something that's easily improved anyway. So aside from just the front page listing, some other changes that were made too. Before I know you're thinking something else. I want to hold on that. But sure. Just some of the other changes that were made, we're going to like a 3-column format now instead of 2 columns on the front page. Mm-hmm. So a lot more streamers being in the I guess initial load of the page. You're not scrolling down to find people as often. You can kind of do some filtering. I like that. I like that you can get rid of, if this is a game you never watch, get rid of the game. You can pin your favorite players, that kind of thing.
That it just they're always showing up. The game on it. That it just notes the game, so it makes it easier for me to skim. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So some interesting changes there. But outside of that, the other half of this design here, Spike's grinning because it's like, this is my turn. Yeah. I'm waiting on this. As part of the redesign, they also announced that speedrun.com would be kind of taking charge of the leaderboard, so to speak. SRL kind of wanting to, I guess, pass that responsibility off, but have it still in the hands of people who want to do something with it. So what do you think about the speedrun.com leaderboards, or what do you think about that announcement decision?
It's something that sadly I think a lot of people were just expecting at this point. It was inevitable at some point they were going to admit this just isn't going to happen, and right. It's not. I don't want to put blame on them. That's something that we as a community, if we want a central leaderboard website, we all had to work together to make this happen.
Right.
And it was difficult. They were skating on thin ice for the last year or so, trying to get these leaderboards up, trying to make something that everyone will accept as these are our leaderboards. Now, that being said, they have, they kind of gave up on it. They've said, all right, speedrun.com, we now support them as the website. And what I'll say is I support speedrun.com. I am one of those community members that thinks it's not a bad website. It's actually very solid. It's everything you need it to be. It's, the core thing I think that you need in one of these central websites is that it's community run. But for each leaderboard right. is that we, the Rayman community, work together to make the Rayman leaderboards how we want it to look, how we want you guys to view our times, how we're ranked, how you can be a part of it. The Tropical Freeze community, the Sonic community, Mario community, everyone's got their own piece of that. Yeah. The problem is, I don't know if the community, because we have been given so much time now away from everything, away from this idea of a leaderboard website, that we may never end up having that universal leaderboard website now. As much as speedrun.com will try, unless the Mega Man leaderboards, unless ZSR, the Sonic Center, unless all of them decide we are going to mass move over there, right. as opposed to just feeling like we got 3 times in this game, we got 2 times over here for this, until everyone says we are going to work together to make speedrun.com a thing, which I think is a good idea. I absolutely wholly support. Then it's, speedrun.com might go down the same crapshoot that SRL leaderboards went down, sadly.
Well, I guess from my perspective, the concern that I have is, it's been so long that since SRL leaderboards were announced initially, and there was kind of this, I don't want to say like complete trust in them, but there was this idea that once SRL leaderboards came out, that would be the source. And then you fast forward to where we are now, and a lot of games have their own communities already off on separate sites. You've got your Mega Man leaderboards, you've got your ZSR, your SMW leaderboards, that sort of thing, in separate places. So not to say that speedrun.com isn't valid, but what do you do about these communities that already have their established leaderboards that like the system that they have? Does speedrun.com link to them in those cases where, okay, we're never going to be able to pull the Mega Man community away from Mega Man leaderboards. Can we at least link to them or pull their, input their data into our site as well?
You're already having that go down within the communities themselves. Mega Man leaderboards decided to link to Mega Man X6's own site.
Right.
So, yeah, if you're going to have that, maybe it is just like a set of links, but a central place where you can say speedrun.com.
And then I guess the other concern is, retroactively adding times. I mean, it's very easy for people to now go ahead and take their current runs and put them on speedrun.com. But what do you do about runs that happened in 2008, 2007, 2000, whatever the case may be? The runners might not even be around anymore. Whose responsibility is it to go and fetch those? Do you put that trust into the people that are moderating those specific games, or who gets the responsibility to add those times?
Well, the thing is, the issue will never go away. So you have to, if this is going to happen at some point, and the general consensus among people in the community and people that casually follow speedruns is that this has to happen at some point, then you just have to deal with these issues as they come, and you just have to try to force it as best you can for the time being.
You almost wonder if speedrun.com is ready to take the weight of the criticism that is inevitable, no matter what you do, no matter how you handle this. And I'm sure that's some factor to the people who are trying to make SRL leaderboards. The thing is just that, you know what? Life's too short to get this kind of criticism about, leaderboards for video games.
Right. Well, and so I guess that's kind of the question is, over the next couple of weeks, maybe we'll start to see as more runs get added. I'd like to see how different scenarios get handled. What happens the first time we get a run that gets questioned as to its validity? What happens when a moderator is going out of control on a game? Because it seems like, and it really does seem like if I just ask, I play this game, can I be a moderator on it? It seems like that kind of exchange happens for a lot of games, whether or not it's a good thing. I mean, obviously it's good to see that lots of different games are getting, people in control of them, so to speak. But what happens when somebody that, wants to be malicious enters the system, that sort of thing. But yeah, I've been playing around. I actually just started to investigate the site in more detail the last couple days. So it's coming along. I think it's definitely a much better option than having nothing at all, to be frank about the SRL aspect of it. So
no, it's totally exciting that we have a website that SRL has put their stamp of approval on, and I just hope slowly the community as a whole will start to accept it and make it what it can be.
Right.
A big ball of criticism, but what you need.
All right. Any other last minute thoughts on that, or any of the other SRL site changes?
We might be getting seasons back.
Seasons back. Yeah, that's another element of this here.
I
don't know that we'll ever get our season 1 medals. Reflected still waiting on his donkey medal, but it does seem like seasons were at least hinted at or suggested again. So fingers crossed.
They would make the season shorter, so that's good.
But they brought up the first and last month of the first season they did. Like, racing went up exponentially, so it's a good thing. And I remember I used to follow Pokemon speedrunning a lot, and like Extra Tricky said, there were a gazillion new strats for Pokemon Red discovered because any % glitchless became a race category on the seasons. So, and he's like, what game could we put in there that has been kind of underdeveloped a bit, but we put it in seasons, and all of a sudden it becomes this new hot speed game, And I think it's a really cool concept that can happen. So,
yeah, I mean, just going back to the anniversary races, it's the same sort of thing where, not anniversary races. What was I thinking of?
Qualifiers.
Qualifiers. There we go. Yeah. Just it's very a different way to approach a similar situation where this could just give it a different angle, and suddenly it becomes more popular.
Go ahead.
I guess my other final thought on the SRL site changes is that hopefully this is just the start, and that some of these changes are. You can look at them and say, well, so and so Twitch viewer already does that. I already have my favorites list on Speedrun TV or whatever the case may be. But hopefully it's just kind of the start of the changes, and there's maybe some more along the way, whether it's the banners that advertise the different races or some sort of calendar or something like that. Hopefully we'll see some more continued improvements, because it is cool to see the site get updated. And I'm excited to see what happens. So onward, we'll go ahead and talk about this week's record. And I think it's appropriate that everybody on the show has a Wii U to discuss this one.
Yay!
There we go. We've got super. I did it. I knew I'd do it.
We did. Yes.
Okay, glitch, please, give it Spike. What's gonna happen?
Okay, yeah, glitch, please. So everyone's like, dude, we always do Mario 64. All right, so we're gonna long jump here. What?
I knew I would upload the wrong video clip. It's the first show in 3 weeks. I get the wrong one. There we go. That's glitch, please. We did it in the wrong order.
Oh my god, that was Astrius. Yeah, that is. I'm sorry. I know we have Mario 64 glitch.
All right. Hold on. We're gonna try this again. Let's see if we can get the right video. All right, let's see. Now, did I reverse them or did I duplicate glitch? Please, let's see. Let's try this one now. Now
we got duplicated it. That'd be great.
Now we got record setter. Okay, we did it. Okay.
Okay.
I just had him on the wrong tab. So there we go. That's our record setter. We'll get to glitch please in a minute. Pretend you saw nothing.
Right. Yeah.
You'll be just as surprised when we show it the next time. So right now we're looking at values, value.
Yeah, I actually did not know about this runner until before the show.
I'm having trouble saying the name.
I knew about the Petey Boos, a couple of the Downy Brownie. But okay, so I actually followed 3D World pretty well since it came out last year. 141 is a legendary time. Like what? And he's got a death in this run, so absolutely insane. If anybody doesn't keep up with modern speed games, 3D World is a very legit speed game. Great speed tech. All the cat suit shenanigans that you've got going on is really exciting. Really fast paced stuff going on. All the routing's really cool. Just with which 170 stars you pick up. And it's just a fun game to watch, Joe. It's a pretty game.
Yeah, and this is now correct me if I'm wrong, but when the game first started being run, there was this assumption that Toad was going to kind of be the forefront of every stage. But then since then, people have been relying on Peach more often with her ability to kind of maintain momentum better with the cat suit. Here you're taking a look at one of the Captain Toad stages. Obviously, an advertisement for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker coming out later. But in any percent, obviously, there's a minimum star requirement to be able to beat the game. So you'll see a lot of these side stages, like the Captain Toad stages, or the like the melee houses, where you're doing these quick little mini games to acquire stars quickly. Here you're seeing an example of a Cat Peach in motion. I believe the stage is called Footlight Lane. And the idea is that you can only see the platforms that you're directly above. So it's a lot of memorization of where the platforms are, but you get subtle hints on the map there as to where they might be.
Very Blackout Basement of it.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But just this idea that you're moving really quickly with the cat suit here. And also worth pointing out that not only does our friend here, whose name I can't say, Valu114, have the any percent record in 3D World, but also the 380 star record was obtained this week as well. So he got both of them in the span of a couple of days, and that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty nuts. In a game that, you might not think it because it's a modern video game. This is a super competitive game. I know, as soon as it came out, there were over 25 runners who had very solid times in this game, just competing, going back and forth for the time. So, and I've known runners who put in over a year into this game and they're still sitting on a 144. Unbelievable, a 141 coming out of nowhere for this game. So make sure you definitely go follow this streamer because it looks like he's not done with this game. As you already said, a death in this game, in this run you got going right here. And as you can tell, just game goes fast. It's good.
Yeah, it really is. For a modern Mario game, I think it's a lot fresher than, say, your New Super Mario Brothers or some of the other recent Mario games we've seen. So it's definitely got some good pacing to it.
It also feels a lot faster than the Galaxy games, which are not as good speed games.
Yeah. So. The Galaxy games do get hit. Well, I won't defend it too much, but it gets hit with a lot of not as good running. Yeah. At a top level, Galaxy games are pretty good, but this one is just a much more, I guess, it's a tastier speed game right off the bat. You can just watch it, and you're going fast. It's good. Yeah.
Well, the replay is linked there at the bottom of the stream there, so head on over there, check out the replay. Now we're going to try and fix the previous...
All right.
All right, now that I figured out, I had it labeled glitch please and it played record setter and vice versa. So now that I got that figured out, let's load up this week's record setter. There we go. Okay.
So yeah.
So what are we about to see in this glitch please?
Yeah, it's the hardest star in 70 star. We got Astrius, who's a god at this game, So yeah, he's got a long jump to this pillar, and we're going. And where did he come from?
Yeah, he do out of nowhere. Just I don't even know. Give that guy a raise because He was in the right position at the right time.
I've never known I've never seen a top flight runner have that happen, so I think it's avoidable if you do the same thing every time.
Yeah.
But that's that Lakitu can cause a lot of heartache when you're bad, like me and Astrius.
So Lakitu playing defense over there, saying no goal for you, man.
I'm really sad that I played that clip early because that was probably one of the better Mario clips we've had in a long time. So
that's one of the best.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
that's good.
Mario 64 is just such a game. Like it is
set up for failure. It has a way of attracting bloopers. But if you guys would like to see other games in our Glitch Please section. We've been getting a lot of Mario submissions, but if you have anything, whether it is more Mario or otherwise, please send us more hilarious clips to our inbox there, thefinalsplit@gmail.com. You might see them on the show. And of course, follow us on all these other social medias as well. I'm going to try to upload, we're missing a few episodes from past weeks on our YouTube. I'm going to try to upload those in the next couple of days, and hopefully that will get taken care of. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our boss rush, which is the Q&A section here with the chat. So if you guys have questions for us, if there's something that you want us to talk about, if you have questions for Ghoul, feel free to do that right now. Ask them away in chat. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other things that are going on right now while we try to fill the time. Clearly there's so much going on. I can think of all of this. AGDQ registration is up. We didn't mention that during the show, but finally. Something we're at like 200 viewers or 200 attendees.
Yeah, what are we at right
250, now? Something like that.
It was at like 250 last night, I remember saying.
So if you're planning to go to AGDQ, gamesdonequick.com, you got to sign up there to attend. Looks like we're not worried about the overnight hitting the 920 registration cap anytime soon. Like, you're not going to go to sleep and wake up and suddenly can't attend or anything, but there is one in place. So be sure to try to sign up earlier than later.
Yeah, it looks like 279 out of 920. It's a little soft right now. I think there's a lot of people, because we are so far removed from when it was originally, I think, going to go up, that a lot of people still don't know what's up. But yeah, definitely start getting in there, because I got a feeling we're either going to get there or get pretty darn close to that cap, honestly. I had over 500 last year. All I've heard is more and more people want to go this year. So,
all right.
Yeah, I almost wonder, if it's going to be like an AGDQ exclusive thing where there's the potential for that cap. I don't know if SGDQ will hit that same value, but it does seem like they would potentially, if AGDQ hits the cap, I think SGDQ has to worry about it. And like same for the opposite scenario. If it doesn't fill up for AGDQ, I think SGDQ is probably off the hook for needing an attendance cap, but we'll see. Okay, we're getting lots of questions. I'm seeing lots of people wanting Sir Carlton to make a return appearance. So good to see that you guys like our impromptu fourth host there.
I think when you hide him somewhere in the layout every episode and see how long it takes people to find him.
Can you find him? Like 1 week he's our like email icon or something. I don't know.
He should have been Lakitu flying across the street.
There hide him inside Glitch Please somewhere. Yeah.
There you go. I'll work on my video editing next time we get a Glitch Please. I'll put Carlton in there to wreck the video. Let's see. Serious questions now. I'm seeing best character in Smash 4.
Oh, Rosalina and Luma.
Rosalina and Luma. Okay. I can't answer that because I'm terrible at Smash. So I've been exhibiting my losses.
A lot, but she's been by far the most fun character for me to play.
Yeah.
So.
As someone who doesn't play Smash and is sad that Diddy is pretty trash.
When are you going to get Smash?
Me and my roommate are probably going to split.
There you go. Okay, I'm waiting for it, but
we'll play it. We'll do some dirt casual on stream. It'll be
Diddy's at least top tier in Smash, at least considering
Diddy's real good.
That's what I'm hearing. Lots of people complaining about Diddy. So
yeah,
interesting. So I don't know.
After Retro screwed him over in Tropical Freeze, so we'll take it.
Let's see. Does anyone in the chat actually have, let's see, more questions for Ghoul? I want to get those first, kind of like high priority, in case somebody wanted to ask about one of the runs or something. scrolling through the questions. I also want to point out too, by the way, while we're waiting for more questions, that our shows are actually going to be on Thursday nights starting next week, as opposed to Saturday nights. We're going to move them to Thursdays. So do not be surprised when you come here next Saturday and we're not here. That means you missed the show. Our next show is going to be next Thursday, and from there. And from that point forward, we'll be on Thursday nights. Hopefully, the idea there being that we can be around more often to be able to do shows, because we've had some pretty busy weekends the last couple of weeks. So that is the plan there. So to come back next Thursday for another show. Naglaria wants to know if you still run Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
I never ran it all of that seriously. Really, the more thing with that is I just had fun connecting with some of the community. Some of the guys like a Mustache are just fantastic. If you ever get a chance, go check out twitch.tv/a_mustache. He's probably the best Sonic Adventure 2 runner not named Talon. So
there you go.
Sonic Adventure 2 also still seems like the best 3D Sonic speed game, just from like a legit standpoint. You're not crazy on it?
No.
Well, Heroes is by far the best 3D Sonic speed game.
I've been seeing a lot of Heroes lately. Yeah.
The thing is, with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, there's just a lot of RNG with the treasure hunting stages.
Yeah.
So with that, there's just a lot of issues. So
I remember Sonic Adventure 2 Battle kind of growing in popularity as a result of Season 1 as well of SRL. I think they did like Heroes Story as one of the categories for Season 1. I feel like that seems to ring a bell anyway.
Yeah, it was a category.
Dark Terex wants to know if there's competition for Catherine.
There are some people that do story mode. There's a Canadian runner that he did a 1-player 2 controller run for a marathon, and he is by far the best at the game. He's better than I am. Actually, he's one of the guys doing Tetris the Grandmaster at AGDQ.
Oh, what's his name?
Color Thief. I think he goes by something differently on SRL, but he did a run for a Canadian marathon that Not So Newbie actually went to, who was a Tropical Freeze runner. Which is how I found out about it, but he did it with 2 fight sticks, which was pretty interesting. But there's really not some story competition, but it's not really that serious a speed game in story mode, just because it's reduction of lag and collapsing the tower down to you. There's just nothing to it.
Also, just to go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Babel is what I consider the much more fun speed category for the game, and not many people do it because it is very difficult.
All right, I think this is a good question. This might be the good last question. Is there a Ghoul 1? Ghoul 01.
I actually almost wish I could drop the O2 now. But basically that came from my email address. Shockingly, daniel.goulias@gmail.com was taken when I signed up for an email account, so I had to throw a number at the end, and I'm like...
You couldn't even use your own name for the...
I was just like, there are other Daniel Gouliases out there that apparently registered for an email address.
So you had to be number 2.
So I'm like, okay, I was number 2 when I played baseball. Let's just throw a 0 in front because why not? And then when I started registering for stuff online, I'm like, okay, O2, Ghoul O2.
You and I share something in common now, that we both regret having the number in our name. So there you go. One of these days, man. One of these days.
Right. Yeah, here's my question: what position did you play in baseball?
You've seen me. I'm a first baseman. First baseman. I've got a first baseman build.
Yeah, I was a third baseman. All right.
But yeah, no. And if anybody was curious, Ghoul is just a pun on my last name. My last name is Goulias, and people never know how to pronounce it properly. So I just say, okay, it's Ghoul. And then yes, and then I'm like, okay, nickname, call me Ghoul.
There you go.
And then somehow in college I have the nickname Igor, so don't ask.
All right. Well, I noticed, amid the mistakes that we have here on the stream layout, I don't have the speech this week. So does that mean we get to skip it, or do I have to do I still have to I mean, it's a tough call. Do we just pass it up, or do I click the button? I can click the button if you want me to.
I can do a speech real quick.
You're gonna do a speech? All right, you're gonna do a speech. All right, here we go. There it is. I'm running the video. There we go. It's official. You can go ahead and give it. What's your speech, Spike? I'm ready.
No, yeah. I guess I just wanted to give another quick shout outs. I don't believe this was my last speech. I could be wrong. Did I do a shout outs to the Kingdom Hearts marathon last time?
I think you did a preview because it was before.
I did a preview.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead and give the shout-outs.
Okay, well then I want to make my shout-outs to how successful the Kingdom Hearts Marathon was. They raised over $5,000 in 5 days, essentially speedrunning like 7 games over and over again.
It was the same games, yeah, just
different
categories.
Was, yeah. There's only 7 Kingdom Hearts games. You're gonna have to do the same stuff. No, but the community really pulled it together. Shouts to all those guys. And it's going to get a lot of really cool people, including Goldfinks is going to be doing Gunstar Heroes at AGDQ. A couple other community members who are just going to be there in support of the Kingdom Hearts run, including runners of the Kingdom Hearts games. $5,000 is an incredible amount of money for, again, us only doing like 7 games. And hey, shout outs to everyone being like, hey, Kingdom Hearts doesn't do good donation wise. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. If we raised $5,000 at AGDQ, that'd be pretty good. So yeah, just cool. That's awesome.
There you go.
Impromptu. There you go.
There you go. Well done. Considering there wasn't any prep put into that, I give it at least 4 stars. So there you go.
Nice. 4 out of 12.
Cool. Do you want to give any last minute shout outs here before we sign off?
Well, I guess if I got to throw a shout out real quick, I just want to throw a quick shout out to the entire Tropical Freeze community because it's been really, really cool to see everybody kind of come together over time. Starting with FLC, creating the Skype group, and then continuing to go from there. It's been a really, really fun journey. I can't wait for it to kind of culminate with the GDQ run.
Cool. Very good. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Spike, do you have a raid target in mind?
Yeah, it was just said in chat. It looks like our good buddy Sinister One has just went live. So I think, why not raid him?
All right. Sounds good. With that in mind, again, guys, we're going to be live next Thursday, not Saturday. So join us on Thursday for another episode. But with that being said, have a good rest of your weekend. And remember that your run is not over until Sir Carlton hits the final split. We'll see you guys next Thursday.